Hey there, treasure hunting fans. Your old pal Big D here, again with another episode recap for Star Trek Discovery. That is right. We just premiered the other night, episode 7. That episode title was, let's see here, was Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad. And you know, I remember reading that title just before the episode started, trying to figure out, whoa, what are they talking about here? Make a person go mad. But I completely understand after the episode. What an amazing episode, might I say again. Yet again, another episode where I'm thinking, okay, at some point, we're going to have one of those episodes that's going to be like, eh. But not again. This is another great episode. And this whole episode surrounded time travel. But not just time travel, Groundhog Day style time travel. So if you all remember Groundhog Day, Bill Murray kept repeating the day over and over and over again. Well, same premise in this episode, only they kept repeating a certain 30-minute time increment over and over again. And with this episode, it was amazing because guess who came back? That's right, Harry Mudd himself came back again. I thought for sure that after that episode 2 weeks ago that we would not see him again until towards the end of the season. So I was very surprised to see, literally, 2 episodes later, he's actually in another episode again. I was very glad to see that. I like Ray Wilson. I've always liked him since The Office, so it's really cool to see him in another show, and especially Star Trek, because we all know how much I love Star Trek. So in this episode, basically, Harry Mudd has created this time loop with this crystal that he found, or I guess he obtained. So he keeps going back on this time loop over and over again because he's trying to steal the USS Discovery to sell it to the Klingons. Of course, USS Discovery's got the Spore drive. Nobody else in the known universe has this drive that can literally be from point A to point B in a snap of a fingers. So of course he wants to find it. Harry Mudd, man, that's what he does. He's a collector. He goes out there and finds stuff and sells it, man. He's a hustler. So of course that's what he's going to do. So basically he keeps going back over and over again to this 30 minutes, and each time he comes back, he tries to obtain more information about the Spore drive because he wants to steal that ship and give it to the Klingons. And because it is a time loop thing, after the 30 minutes each time, and I know my brother would have loved this because he loved it in an episode of Next Generation called Cause and Effect, which was very identical to this episode where the Enterprise kept being destroyed over and over and over again until they finally figured out they were stuck in a temporal loop with another ship, which ended up being the USS Bozeman, commanded by Kelsey Grammer, of all people. So this is very similar to that, only in that it's somebody trying to steal a ship instead of just being stuck in like a loop itself. And I thought it was really awesome because not just this episode. You think most of the time episodes like this, because there was that movie recently that came out, Happy Death Day. There was the same thing. A lot of people's complaints are they're like, yeah, they do these movies, stuff like that. It kind of get repetitive. This really didn't. Every time they went back 30 minutes again to start all over again, they changed up stuff to the point where you felt like it was still always new. And what I liked about it is that they, even though there's this mad story about this person trying to take over the ship and trying to sell it, you got to learn more about the characters, and specifically Michael Burnham. We really got to learn more about her. And the biggest thing we got to learn about her is the fact that she's never been in love before. You know, here she is, I'm assuming probably somewhere in her 30s. I don't know if they've ever really said her age, and if they have, I do apologize, but you know, here she is, and she's never been in love because she was raised on Vulcan. That's not I mean, they don't do that kind of stuff there. They don't have emotions there. So it wasn't like it was ever nurtured with her when she was growing up that, hey, you know, you're gonna have these feelings about people, and this is how you deal with them. This is what happens. You know, she never had any of that. So all of a sudden, she's now dealing with the fact that she's actually starting to have feelings for another officer, and the officer obviously being Lieutenant Tyler, who oddly enough does have feelings for her as well. So it's very interesting to see this thing kind of happen to her. Like she's acted like a Vulcan literally all of her life, and now her human side is starting to come out. She's starting to finally let her human side come out. After that episode with Sarek, where she learned that Sarek had actually done something bad to her, she's kind of embracing more of her humanity now. So it's really fun to watch her break out of her shell and, like, you know, kind of take over her human persona because she is human. So I really enjoyed that. I love the fact that in this episode, because the fact Harry Mudd kept going back in time over and over again, the amount of times he killed Captain Lorca was absolutely hilarious. He literally mentions at one point, I've killed you like 53 times, and it never gets old. And they had a point where you kept seeing him going, and he would shoot him in his ready room, and he'd shoot him in his chair, he would shoot him over here. And he just kept counting him over and over again. So it was actually quite hysterical, the amount of ways that the writers of this episode came up with how they're going to kill off the captain every time we turn around. So I thought that was really cool. And I mean, the whole episode's about this, and them trying to figure this stuff out, and then the one officer who can sense all this and can actually, even though every time they go back and do the time jump again, he still remembers everything, is Lieutenant Stamets. Now, the reason why he's able to do that is because remember they injected the alien DNA into him so he can be part of the spore drive. So that alien DNA has some sort of temporal time travel, not really time travel, but temporal like loop in it or something. I don't know. Can't quite explain it, but something, because that apparently the creature that they took the DNA from can exist on many different levels, and so that's kind of he's got the DNA. It's been fused with him now, so he's able to do that as well. At least that's the way I figure it. I need to watch the episode again to listen to it a little bit more. But so he's the only one that can remember everything, and what I like about it is because of that episode title. Magic to make the sanest man go mad was he was starting to go mad. After he'd relived these things, after he'd gone through this 50, 60 times, everything was starting to get jumbled up in his head. He couldn't remember quite everything anymore, and he was literally telling people, he's like, I can't do this again. You need to fix this, because otherwise I'm out. So it was really cool to see that, and then the way they resolved the episode and how they ended up treating Harry Mudd, stuff like that, was really cool, because you just didn't see it coming, B, it all just happened. You're like, whoa, when did that happen? So it was really cool to see how the crew worked together and they figured things out. And there was a lot of trust in this episode, which I really liked. They really, each one of the characters had to learn to trust each other, which is something they really haven't really expanded on too much yet, because it's still in the early stages of the show. So it was a big episode for trust. It was a big episode for backgrounds on certain characters and stuff like that. And it's really kind of paving the way for the future. Now, one thing I also did like about this episode is we did get to see Stella. Yes, the infamous Stella that Harry Mudd has talked about in the original series and the animated series. Stella was in the episode, which was really cool. And matter of fact, I was reading up on this. They've actually had already 4 characters from the original series appear on this show. Stella obviously being one from recent, Harry Mudd being the other one, Amanda, Spock's father, and obviously Sarek. And what I think is really cool about that is the fact that you look at Enterprise, and one of my biggest complaints with Enterprise was they didn't incorporate anything from the original series. They waited till the 4th season before they finally started really dealing with stuff from the original series, started bringing characters over from the original series, and I think that was part of its downfall. People wanted to see the interaction. Since this stuff took place before Kirk and Spock, there has to be seeds of stuff planted that for Kirk and Spock in the future. So it's cool to start seeing these races. And best example, a couple episodes ago, in Captain Lorca's, International Bazaar room where he has all those relics, stuff like that. In the glass jar on the back, in one of his shelves was a mini Horta, which we all remember from the original series. Also, don't forget, the skeleton he has in there is a Gorn skeleton from the original series. The Gorn was shown also in Enterprise, but again, not till season 4. So I'm really glad to see that they're incorporating stuff from the original series. They're not just sitting there going, hey, this didn't happen, we're going to do our own thing. They are very cognizant of Star Trek, and people are complaining about, oh, it's departure. It's really not. These people that they've hired on the show are very well, informed about Star Trek, and they know a lot about Star Trek, so they're trying to keep the continuities close together. Now, there's going to be some issues, and yes, there is some issues. There are always issues. Star Wars was plagued by the same issues when they go back and do prequel series versus doing a sequel series. Always going to be plagued because technology is better, stories have changed, characters have changed, you got to work different things differently. So yeah, but I think they're doing a really good job, and this is another episode where they took a generic premise, which is time travel, a loop. Again, we've seen that several times in several different shows over the years. Even in Supernatural had an episode like that. So they took that generic story, but they ran with it. They did a really good job. And mind you, I just want to say again, the special effects on this show are really theatrical quality. I mean, it's amazing how great the special effects are for a TV show. It's awesome. So that is it for this episode of Dawn's Discovery, episode 7 review. I can't think of anything else that I mentioned. Yeah, I pretty much mentioned everything I want to talk about. So, again, definitely check out the show. I mean, it's a really good show, and I guarantee you will enjoy it. We're 2 episodes left before we go to the hiatus. And then I think the hiatus after 2 weeks, the hiatus goes until January, like the first Sunday in January, I think, or something like that, which most shows do. It's that time of the year. We're coming to the holiday season now, so a lot of shows will start taking their hiatuses. So Star Trek's along with a lot of the other shows that will do the same thing. So unfortunately, in 2 weeks, that will be my last review until January for Star Trek. But thank everybody for watching this episode. Again, thank you to some new people that recently clicked and liked my Star Trek episode reviews and gave me some great stuff online and great comments. I really appreciate everybody that leaves a comment on my reviews, and I do try to comment on those comments any chance that I get. But again, thank you everybody for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please click the like button down below. And if you want to see more reviews and not just Star Trek Discovery reviews, I will be talking about The Walking Dead eventually down the road a little bit. I will be talking about Stranger Things, which I finished that. I'm halfway through Stranger Things, so be looking for that. I'm going to do a whole recap of the whole season on that one. But until then, thank you all for watching my videos. Everybody take care. Always remember, keep hunting. Live long and prosper.